Anthony Carboni back here with you in the booth, live, E3 2015, Day 2, joined now by Matt Birch, the founder and creator, Heavy Spectrum Entertainment. Thank you for coming, sir.
My pleasure.
You are resurrecting a franchise that is kind of near and dear to a lot of people's hearts.
Yeah.
Shadow of the Beast.
Shadow of the Beast.
That's awesome.
I can't believe it either. Yeah.
But this is great because you basically are doing this because you are such a huge fan of the original series.
Yeah, and because XDev listened to me when I rambled. I mean, I played it when I was a kid. You know,
Yeah.
like I don't know, 25 years ago. He says, embarrassed about his age. But yeah, I played it, and I went around to a friend's house, and he just got an Amiga, and he said, "You've got to see this game. You've got to see this game." And we ended up playing it all night, and while I was playing it, you know, we were sitting there and we were seeing all these strange things appearing in the world, and that was you know, we were making up stories about why they were there, you know, what this was.
Yeah, so Shadow of the Beast was known for a couple things, especially here in the States. It was known, number one, for being just insanely beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
Just insanely beautiful. Like these worlds that basically at the time, you and I were just talking about it, look kind of like fantasy book covers or Iron Maiden album covers.
Yeah, exactly.
Just these crazy, insane worlds. And over here, it was also known for being insanely hard.
Yeah.
Because we had the Genesis, port.
I would like to point out, in Europe it was known for being insanely hard, so it must have been super insanely hard for you guys.
Yeah, because they didn't retime it for American TVs, so not only was it as hard as it had been, but it was 20% harder because it was moving 20% faster.
Yeah,
for American TV.
You guys got the hardcore version.
So you're bringing back this franchise that you love, and you know it's loved for sort of like this sort of brutal combat and these insanely beautiful worlds. What did you want to bring to your new version, which we're seeing a live gameplay demo of right now?
Yeah, I mean, it was really important for me to try and get across to players that experience that I had when I was a kid, but not necessarily the same game. Because 25 years of games have happened since then, you know, and there's some incredible experiences out there now, and I want to make sure that it's as fresh a game as today as it was for me when I played it.
Yeah.
So we've tried really hard to work out ways to bring you that experience of just being able to punch your way through hundreds of enemies really quickly, but have that with the depth and breadth of combat experience that you'd expect in a modern game.
Yeah, so automatically we're seeing, because while there were weapons you could pick up and stuff in the original, it was, like you said, it was very kind of just like timing based and mowing everybody down. But it looks like we're adding some sort of a combo system and sort of these super moves. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Sure. Yeah. I mean, yeah, I'm a huge fan of loads of combat games. So for me, the idea of getting it so that you could really just access the game and be able to go and explore this incredible world and see all the sights it has was kind of paramount. So you've got the really simple attack and stun combos, where you just stun a guy and attack them, or just straight attack them. But if you really want to get into the game...
Oh my gosh, that was just beautiful.
Yeah.
Sorry, that was just really lovely. Go on.
I've got so many stories I could tell you about this. But you know, with the combat system, we really added all these extra layers in there, that if you want to get great scores, you have to use the enemies against each other, you have to stun them, throw them into each other, and you have this blood system as well, where you collect blood. So everybody you kill in the world, their blood gets absorbed by Arboron, and that little bar in the corner, which is currently empty, fills up with blood and gives you the ability to pull off some super moves.
Okay.
And that, I think you saw it a little earlier, and hey, Mark's coming up to a fight now, so you know,
Great.
maybe we get to see that. But you get to do special moves that you can use to get extra abilities unlocked. And yeah, hopefully, to really master the game, you've got to read all the enemies, you've got to manage them either side. And
it looks like they all have their own sort of timing, and they're using different ranges of weapon here.
Yeah.
So, you know, you're obviously getting in real close and meleeing some people, but then there are some people that have kind of longer staffs and swords that you have to kind of keep at bay.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, those are ideal guys to grab somebody and throw them into them, because whenever you throw somebody into another person, they get stunned automatically. So it buys you a window to be able to go in and attack them and
Oh, yeah.
take them down.
I just saw him toss a guy around right
So,
there.
yeah, this guy's a bit tougher. He demands that you start using some of the block facilities in the game, and block is incredibly powerful in this game. You can interrupt almost anything with a block, and that gives you the ability to deal with enemies surrounding you and coming in really quick. And, you know, if you really want to get good at the game, you've got to master all of these things. I mean, a normal player running through the game would maybe get, I don't know, 100,000 points.
Yeah.
But, you know, for me, my record at the moment is 3.2 million on this level.
Okay, so there's definitely room to perfect your technique for sure.
That's right.
You guys are doing some really interesting stuff with the 2D plane too. You know, we were talking earlier about how it was known for kind of these beautiful worlds. One of the things that it had, I think, was like 12 levels of parallax scrolling at the time, like this simulated depth. And you're doing some really great things with the picture plane, especially during combat. Can you talk about what you kind of wanted to do there?
Yeah, well this is
As
the thing.
this beautiful thing happens?
It's good timing. Good timing.
Oh my gosh.
I mean, that's the thing. So here, because blood powers all Arbron's magic, it powers magic in the world. And you just shed all the blood on the altar, and that's activated this temple and started to... there's a whole story about why this happens, but I don't want to share that with players. I want players to make up their own stories about this kind of stuff.
And that's what I was going to ask is, you know, were we going to get... Because in the old games, it was kind of like you're running around, and then all of a sudden... There are like jet engines underground, or now I have a shotgun, or now I'm in a beautiful field. Now it looks like maybe I'm in the future, and it never really explained any of that stuff, which was kind of wonderful to me in a way.
That's one of the magical things for me about the original. It's the thing I walked away with, and I'm trying very hard. We've got a brief in the office that no level should feel like any of the other levels, so each one's got to have its own signature sort of gameplay path. It's got to have its own, you know, distinct creatures.
See, and this is the thing. I thought that guy in the background was, you know, one of these beautiful decorations that you've put in throughout the world. But now it looks like this guy is somebody we're about to fight.
Yeah, he's probably going to cause trouble for you. I
love the way you're playing with light too, and how often the character goes into a full silhouette, and everything in the background is really well lit. I mean, you guys are. The art direction is just astounding.
Oh gosh, well, thank you very much. Yeah, I mean, we're quite a small team, so this is quite, you know, we're quite proud and precious about a lot of this stuff, so that's really nice to hear. Thank you. But, yeah, I mean, talking about the backgrounds, I mean, you can see there we've deliberately separated all these layers to give you that sort of parallax feeling that the original evoked.
Yeah,
and we
love
do
it.
some things with, you know, these sort of alien landscapes. You know, the rocks here are formed in a completely different way to how they would, but they act as a backdrop to the fights. Because if we were to do sort of a, you know, a traditional 3D fighter, you'd have to have the camera constantly elevated over the top. But having these beautiful vistas alongside this real connected impact combat is the kind of thing we can really do with this and explore.
Tell me about rage chains.
Okay.
I am sorry to cut off that last thing, but I just saw like a ×7 rage chain.
Yeah, so rage chains are once Arbron's absorbed all of the blood that his body can absorb, and that gives him the power to activate a rage chain.
I'm the same way. Go on.
And yeah, when you do that, the whole combat changes from the super frenetic fighting, constant reaction, what's the right combination of things to do in this situation, to a moment of calm, and then you have the ability to single hit kill each enemy, and you've got the rhythm goes faster and faster and faster, but you've got to enter this sort of zen-like state. I mean, we were talking about Wipeout earlier, that sort of moment where you suddenly realize, oh, I'm connected to the Matrix.
Yeah.
And you can take every corner perfectly. You have to sort of enter that kind of mode, and you can go and you can combo your way through huge numbers of enemies, but you've got to change your pace of game in the middle of this frantic combat.
And I like the way when I enter certain areas, it tells me, it doesn't do this all the time, but in certain spaces, it's telling me how many enemies are remaining, which I like because that's letting me sort of think about how I'm going to manage that magic and when I'm going to try to go into those rage chains.
Exactly, because that's really important, a really important point. Managing the fight, it's not just about the next guy in the queue, it's about the whole fight. And yeah, I mean, I don't know whether Mark will oblige us, but we have this other ability, like a smart bomb, so when you get into trouble, like I think Mark's about to. Thank you very much. you get to see, you got the smart bomb ability that gets rid of all the enemies.
And
but
that's
it uses up your blood.
Okay.
So that's the thing. They all have their pluses and minuses, but they have a tactical place in the combat.
Yeah.
So initially it looks quite simple, but there's a lot of depth weaved into that experience.
Yeah, I can just see how later on you'll get into these positions where maybe 13 people jump at you at once, or 13 monsters jump at you at once.
Appreciate the subtleties of combat systems, but also create these beautiful worlds that people could just appreciate. And we wanted to make sure that it was as hardcore as you wanted it to be, because the originals, as you say, they were super hard, but they were very satisfying, hugely satisfying, in fact, to be able to go through and deal with the whole level and not take any health damage.
Yes.
You were just like, boom, I am the master.
And there's sort of this resurgence. You're seeing things like the Souls series and like Bloodborne, where people really want a more tactical timing. They want a more thoughtful combat now, and it's nice to see things kind of swinging back around towards that.
Yeah, and it's kind of interesting. I mean, I would really like to make sure that people have this option to be able to just enjoy the game, because some people don't like that, but they might be enamored with the world. And, I certainly, I look at a lot of games and I wish I could go through and see some of the things that...
You brought back the jet engines!
Yeah, the jet thrusters are
Those
in there.
weird jet engines underground! You brought them back! Why are they there, Matt?
Well...
You're in charge now. Tell me why they're there.
We have a reason for the jet thrusters to be there.
Okay.
But I don't want to tell you. Because like the original, I mean, you obviously had the same experience I did. When you played the original, you saw the jet thrusters in there, and you went, why? Why are they there underground? That makes no sense to me.
I'm a monster, I'm fighting monsters, I'm in the woods, there's a jet, okay, I'm ready. And it's just, there's this feeling of whatever is going to look cool in the moment, whatever is going to look the most powerful in the moment, that's what we want there. Like, why wouldn't that be there?
Yeah, and I think that's very much how the original felt, but, we've sat down and we've worked out exactly why those are there. We know why they're there, but I don't want to tell everybody that story, because I want people to have that same experience that you and I had when we played the original of why are they there? Yeah. What is their story? Make your own story up, because I'd love it if in 25 years' time somebody went to Sony and said, I'd love to make Shadow of the Beast. I played it on the PlayStation 4. Wouldn't it be great if it evoked these responses?
I didn't understand it.
Yeah,
what were the jet engines about?
That would be so great for me if even just one person felt like the world was a mystery which they wanted to explore. I mean, that would be fantastic.
I mean, this is kind of amazing, because how often do people get to, grow up with such a strong love for their favorite game, and then go, okay, well, now I'm going to do it. I'm going to work on it.
It was a surreal experience going to XDev, because they're actually based in the old Psygnosis office. And when I walked through reception there, they have a Game of the Year trophy for the original Amiga Shadow of the Beast in their lobby. And I went in to talk to them about, making a game with my new studio. And when they asked, what game, if you could just choose anything, what game would you choose? And I just went, there's this game that you made a long time ago, and it evoked all these emotions in me as a child. And I look at the PlayStation 4 and what was in that kid's head. That machine has the power to actually start to give it to players today. But I'd like to make sure they have that same experience. And basically, the 16-year-old kid came out of this grown man's body going, oh, it's so exciting. But
well, it's amazing. I'm so excited that you get to do it, man. That's so exciting. When are we going to be able to see Shadow of the Beast?
We've got quite a small team, so we're all working incredibly hard. But we've decided on all our levels now. They're all totally different to each other. So hopefully there'll be a lot of surprises and a lot of, wow, I want to go on to the next level because it's so different to that.
Yeah, I mean, I'm excited because you built this, which is so beautiful, and this incredibly realized desert world, but I know that we're probably not going to come back to the desert.
No, this is just one level.
Yeah.
You know, the next level is completely different. You can see a castle at the end of this, and everything changes. And the level before this, you climbed up a well, which, if you remember the original game, you'll remember climbing up a well.
Yes.
And that's something that, before that, at the bottom of the well is completely different to what the arid looks like and what the next level looks like. So, yeah, we're working on all of those right now, and we've decided what we want, what we think we can make with the ties that we are, and we're pushing really hard to pull that together and make sure that it all feels as hopefully great to players, and that's what we're going to do. So yeah, we haven't locked 100% exactly when it's going to be, but hopefully it won't be too long before players get a chance to play it for themselves.
Excellent. Well, Matt, thank you so much for coming by and showing off Shadow of the Beast.
My pleasure, and I really thank you for listening to me ramble about it. It's something that, as I was saying before, it's been a bit of an emotional roller coaster for me making this game and for the team as well, because we're all from that generation. So
I'm excited for everybody to see what you've been working on. I'm so psyched that you came by and shared it with us. Okay. Matt Birch, Shadow of the Beast. Keep your eye out for it. Up next, Sid tests his survival skills. He's going hands-on with Mad Max.
PlayStation